what's going on YouTube? It's Eric Leonard with GBA Ethos. Hey, it's been 1 week since I put out my video talking about my journey as a professional soccer player and the impact that the GBA mentality has had on my life. Listen, I got a super exciting video today. So this past week I actually posted a question forum all over my social media, kind of giving you guys an opportunity to ask any questions you had about my career, the grinding process, or what GBA Ethos really is. So I've got a list of about 10 questions. I have not looked at the questions yet, and I'm going to read through the questions and answer them in front of you guys live. This is not going to be edited at all because I really want you guys to see my initial reaction. Before I get going, I just wanted to remind everyone to please click the like button below, and if you are a new viewer and you enjoy this video, please click subscribe so you can help me continue to share GBA Ethos with the rest of the world. I did bring some gear along with me. I usually do rep a shirt when I'm talking on camera, but I have a couple of my favorite shirts behind me with the original logo, and then I do have a shirt here with our new 5-star logo as well. So go ahead and click the link in the description below for the video and get some of your fire gear for GBA. With that being said, I really don't want to waste any more time, so let's dive into these questions right away. It's time to grind. So like I said, I am jumping into these questions for the first time. I've got my laptop open. I've got the 10 questions in front of me. So let's get started right away. So the first question is, how do I become good at soccer? Well, very generic, but I like it. It's, to me, one of the ways you can become good at soccer is honestly repetition and hard work, right? You've heard the saying as a soccer player that, you know, the only way to get better is spending time with the ball every day. So, you know, as someone who plays at the professional level and has been through all the youth, the academy, playing in high school, playing in college, I would say the one thing that comes to my mind in terms of getting better at soccer is just dedicating time towards your craft to get better. And honestly, that deals with anything in life. Not to bring it back too much to GBA, but, you know, putting in the work every single day so you can see the results later down the line. Good start. Number 2, is it scary coming against good opponents? I love that question. Yeah, absolutely, especially when you're playing someone at, you know, really high level. I think back at Forward Madison our first year, we played against Hertha Berlin. They're in the Bundesliga, so obviously a much higher level than us. And, you know, at one point, sure, it's very scary playing against opponents who are, you know, playing at the highest level of soccer in the world. But at the same time, you know, when you're competitive in a sport, that's what you live for, right? I can't think of a time where I didn't enjoy going onto a field, playing against a team that may have been better than me or the guys on my team, because, you know, it's, you want to be able to prove everyone out there that, you know what, we can play with these guys. So to answer the question, is it scary coming against good opponents? Yes and no. Yes, for the fact that you might have some nerves before the game, but at the same time, once your adrenaline kicks in, you want to play against the best of the best. That's what every, you know, athlete will say. Good question. Number 3, how do you get noticed by a Division I team or coach? Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, just thinking back to try and keep it really simple. When I was going through the college process before I committed to Butler, honestly it came down to a lot of research and support from my family, but it starts with putting yourself in front of the coaches' faces, right? So for me, when I was younger, I remember going to Northwestern's soccer ID camp, Marquette's soccer ID camp, Indiana, their soccer camp. And ironically, when I went to the IU camp, that's where I got in touch with the Butler coaches. So I didn't necessarily go to the school's camp that I ended up committing to, but by putting myself in front of as many coaches as possible, I gave myself the best opportunity. So for starters, I would definitely recommend trying to get to some college ID camps, because that's the first time that a coach gets to notice you. And that's where you kind of open the door for that contact, one. Two, I'd recommend trying to play for a strong club team in whatever area you live for, whether that's a travel club team or your high school is very strong, or even an academy team. I played for my academy team at the Soccers for 3 years, and academy is a very good way to get yourself noticed. And then the last one would be, just once again, time and research, because you're not going to be able to get into every single college that you want to, so you want to spend time focused on the ones that interest you and the ones that you spend time researching. Maybe their style of play, the coaching staff, do they have seniors graduating, what's the level, what type of level do you want to play at, all the things that you would think about if you're just going to attend college normally. It's the same thing that goes for soccer. You need to do your research behind the scenes to give yourself the best chance of going there. But that's the stuff off the field. On the field, like I said, you just really need exposure and putting yourself in as many coaches' faces as possible. Good question. If you couldn't play soccer, what would you do instead? Oh my gosh. That's a tough one. So in high school, I was a big wrestler. So I would love to say that I would wrestle in high school and then maybe even go into college and stuff like that. But man, I can't really imagine my life if I didn't play soccer. I'll tell you what, I would have had a lot more free time. But no, I definitely would have been in some kind of sport, whether it was wrestling. Maybe I would have even tried football at one point, even though my size isn't that big. But other than that, if I wasn't playing soccer, I'd probably be working then, honestly. I'm in my last year of school right now. I'm getting my master's. So I'd probably be living a boring life in the real world, just working a 9-to-5 job, which sounds terrible. So I'm going to stick with playing soccer for now. How do I get a tryout for Forward Madison? That one's tough. I think you just missed our open tryout date as of 2-3 weeks ago, but what I would recommend you to do is definitely follow Forward Madison's social media page, because they're always posting stuff. And then, if I'm in your shoes, maybe somehow try and get in contact with them and send over a video, regardless if it's Forward Madison or another team. I'll just kind of twist this question, how can I get in touch with professional coaches? Once again, it deems down to research, right? If you're going to send an email to a professional coach introducing yourself, do not send an email without putting video and references and maybe like a CV. So your player card of where you've played, whether it's just youth, club, high school, college, other professional teams. Make sure you include both of those, because just from talking with other coaches, I know they get hundreds and hundreds of emails every day. And if you don't have video, they're not going to go out of their way to try and find who you are, right? You're trying to make the first impression, so you need to send them video, so all they have to do is click and watch you. And that's the best way to make sure your email does not get deleted. So yeah, that's how I would answer that one. Favorite thing to do in your free time? Well, in a couple of my other videos, especially my Forward Madison Instagram takeover, you saw I do love playing the piano. I love working out. I love going on walks and especially hiking and stuff like that. But I think I spend the majority of my time in the off season in Florida with my family. We love the beach. I love being in the water, in the ocean, stuff like that. So honestly, anything outside. And then definitely listening to music too. That's a big one for me. Best feeling about being a professional footballer? I mean, that's as easy as it comes, right? I get to wake up for my job, for my career, and get to play soccer. I said it a little bit earlier in the video, but I remember when I graduated college and I was going through all the MLS combines and everything, and a lot of my friends at the time were applying for jobs and waiting to hear back whether or not they were going to be working in the same area or moving somewhere else. And I kind of just thought to myself for a second, thinking like, I cannot imagine waking up every day and having to go into work and sit at a desk or sit and do something for 7 or 8 hours that was not physical activity based. If you don't know me, I do have a lot of energy, which soccer proves to be a great asset to use it in. But yeah, I just think that the first thing that comes to my mind of being a professional footballer is that it's my job. I get to wake up every single day and play soccer, throughout the day, whether it's with a team training or doing something soccer related, going to the gym, working out. Everything that I do physical activity based helps me for my career, which is not something that every person can say for their job. So I definitely say I'm blessed when it comes to that front. And yeah, I've been definitely trying to play soccer for as long as I can. What's the most rewarding part and the most challenging part of all of it? I think the most rewarding part is seeing how everything comes together. And to break that down a little bit, I think as a soccer player, you spend a lot of time focused on yourself and getting better at the position that your coach plays you at, right? So if you're spending hours and hours and hours every single day, every single week to get better at your position, and you get to the practices and you get to the games and you see it pay off, one, that's rewarding. But then take it a step further, you're with your team and then you guys start to win games because of how you're playing. I mean, that's even more rewarding. I mean, every time you play for a team, when you ask someone, what do you guys want to do this year? 99% of people say they want to win a championship. And probably only about 1% of people actually get to win a championship. I have not won a championship yet in my professional career, but as someone who's a part of a team, that's what we go for. So in terms of rewarding, not even just a championship, but just winning a big game or coming back 2-1, or holding down the fort when you're up 1-0 against a team. Just breaking down the little parts of a game in terms of your individual role, your team role, and how it all comes together, I think is very rewarding to me personally. And then seeing how the things that I do off the field, trying to monitor my nutrition, my fitness, my technical skill, my tactical awareness, watching video. I think when I do more of those things and I see how it impacts me after I've done it, I think that's very rewarding, because there will be games where, man, I came off the field, I didn't think I played that well, right? So you watch the video and you're like, uh-oh, like, is this a big deficit for me? Do I need to work on this? And then you kind of have these nerves as you're going through practice, like, I don't know if I'm getting better at that. But then when you start to actually focus every day on getting better at that deficit, and then eventually you see the improvement, just take your weak foot, for example. If you don't spend any time on your weak foot, it's not going to get better, right? And it's always going to be your weak foot. For me, that's my left foot. But the more time you spend working on your weak foot, progress, it'll slowly start to get better. And that's one of the most rewarding parts about soccer. The most challenging part of all of it, the first word that comes to my mind is balance, right? And you'd say, all you do is play soccer, right? Well, it's a lot more complicated than that. I think that not many people understand the role of a professional soccer player. It's a lot more than just the physical side of things. The mentality comes into play. The emotional side comes into play. And yes, the physical side is a big part, because you're not just taking care of your body on the field, but it's more importantly, how are you doing off the field? How are you recovering? We just talked about a little bit nutrition, right? There's a lot of things in terms of soccer that require balance, and that's just the one component of your, let's just take the over 6 hours of your day. What are you doing the other 18 hours of your day? Are you getting adequate sleep? For me, I'm trying to balance that with school and my master's. I'm trying to balance running a company with GBA Ethos and sharing that with as many people in the world as I can. Are you doing other things in your life? Your social, and then even stuff based. Maybe you live in a great community. So one of the things I love about Madison, it's very community based. It feels like a family, and that's one of the reasons I love playing for Forward Madison. So it's how can I spend time volunteering in the community, working with nonprofit organizations, and that's that all requires balance, because you don't want to put too much on one side of the scale and then let something else suffer. And I just feel that as a professional soccer player, you do have a lot of free time, and you want to make sure you're spending your time, making the right use of your time throughout the day and not wasting it, but not doing too much either to hurt you, if that makes sense. It's a really good question. Number 9, how do you win so many aerial duels? Man, I've thought about, it's a great question. I've thought about telling people, I just jump really high and stuff like that, but to be honest with you, it's a lot more simple than that. I'm 5'8", 5'9" on a good day. But one of the reasons I feel that I'm very strong in the air, it comes down to timing. It's not I jump higher than the guy. It's not that. It's not that at all. In fact, it's all about timing. It's about reading when the guy's about to jump. It's about reading when the ball's in the air. It's about reading your body position. And for me, I feel like I have a strong center of gravity. So when the ball is in the air and I have someone in front of me going up to win a header, it's, okay, how can I position my body in front of him or behind him? If I can't, how can I time it where I make him think that I'm going up for the ball, and then I wait a split second and then go up for the ball? And to break down those details even a little bit more, that might mean giving just a little shove, not enough for the ref to call, but just a little shove to throw him off balance and to give me that extra step to get up over him and win the ball. So that's the short version. I don't want to give away too many of my secrets, but that's a good question. Number 10, and our last question. What's in the future for GBA Ethos? It's a great question. I have a lot of goals and dreams that I want to accomplish with GBA Ethos. Starting basic is the simple one of getting 1,000 subscribers. When I hit the 1,000 subscribers mark with YouTube, my business becomes monetized, and something you guys should know about me right away is I'm not in this for the money. I never have been, and it's the same thing with soccer. I do it because I love it. Just like I would do work with GBA Ethos because I love it. One of the cool things about getting this company monetized is that I can kind of go into phase 2. So phase 2 is something that I have not talked about much over camera, but with GBA Ethos, the goal is to make this into a non-profit, or I want to partner with a non-profit organization, whether it's in Madison or somewhere else around the world. The goal of GBA Ethos is to create a culture. That's why I use the word ethos in the brand name, because ethos is culture, family, being a part of a group of people anywhere around the world that share a similar mindset of working hard. That's why I try to make this not just soccer-based or sports-based, but that's why every other week I've fallen off it a little bit, and I'm going to really hop on it this next week. But that's why I try and do these real-world interviews, because I want you guys to see people in the real world, not just soccer players, who really live through the GBA mindset. And one of the things that starts with is growing it so more people can see it. And then once it becomes monetized, I would love to, give back. I think about how much soccer has given me, and all the coaches who've helped instill that grinding mentality inside me, that has really helped me overcome a lot of challenges, overcome injuries, overcome tough points in my career that have been really, really hard. And with GBA Ethos, phase 2 is, how can I give back to the community, whether it's the youth, partnering with maybe the girls and boys home in a city like Madison that, gives them an opportunity to play soccer every single day like I was given when I was younger. Partnering with a organization overseas that maybe gives soccer balls, gives equipment, gives jerseys for kids to wear so they can enjoy playing soccer at a young age. I haven't really figured out the details of what the nonprofit organization is yet, but I can tell you that phase 2 will not happen without phase 1, which is really making sure my brand gets monetized, so I can kind of start that next step. So there's a lot that you guys can do to help me with that, in terms of not only just clicking the subscribe button and watching the videos as well, but also sharing it with your friends and family. Like I said in my last video, with my journey, joking around a little bit, share it with your, I know how much people are involved with social media right now, so even having one person share it with a friend, that friend can share it with someone else, and then someone else, and by then you almost have 100 different people looking at it, and that's the help that I need from you guys to continue to grow GBA Ethos, and so we can hopefully get it to phase 2. Guys, those were awesome. We went through about 10 questions. I don't have time for much more, so maybe I'll try and do another segment in about a month as preseason starts and after I get your guys' feedback. But just want to say thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, if you guys enjoyed the video, please click the like button below, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and please comment below how your journey is doing with having a GPA mentality throughout your life. And if there's anything that I can ever do to help you guys as well, feel free to comment that and we'll get a conversation going and take you, to the next step of your journey. Until then, I'll see you guys next week. We'll be going back into our real world series, so I'll have an interview popping on. I hope you guys have a good rest of your week, and until then, stay on the grind.
Giveaway at the back. Here's Mika Leto, and it's blocked away.